Next, we're going to look at blending. So blending is a lot more than opacity. It is basically taking the pixels on one layer and blending them with another layer to create a brand new effect. So you've got to imagine it like you've got your base layer, which is like your original layer. Then you add in a blend, which is when you kind of apply colours, and then you get something as a result of that after you've mixed it together. So it's really easy to find the blending layers. If you go into the layers panel down here, simply select the layer you want to blend. So I'm going to choose B number 2, which is this one over here, for example. There you go, so you can see which one I've got selected. And then it's simply this drop down arrow here. So I'm going to click on it and it gives me 6 different categories. I've got this one here, this category, this one, and this one. So within each category you've got different things. So the top one here is the default blending mode. So basically it doesn't really change anything. It only blends with the layers below by reducing the opacity. So you keep it on normal. You can just use the opacity slider to see that, like we've done in the other video. If you choose dissolve, it doesn't look like anything's changed, but then if you use the opacity slider on that one, you can see the B goes dissolved rather than just fading. Okay, so you can see it's got kind of a speckled effect there. Okay, that's the dissolve. If I look at this next set of blending layers, what this does is make the blend darker, hence it says darken. So I just literally can, if I do that, I can see the effect it's having on my B. So you can just choose one of those if you want to. The lighten does the opposite. It makes the blend brighter. So you can see here the effect it's having. Probably not very useful because the B just disappears. Then we've got the contrast layers here. Okay, these ones here. So these are the contrasts. What they do is they look at the pixels, and if, for example, they are lighter than 50% grey, it applies a brightening mode. And if they are darker than 50% grey, it applies a darkening mode. Then you have the inversion layers here. So it looks for variations between the base and the blend layers to create the blend. So if, for example, I choose difference here, it does change the B. Duplicate the layer. And you can see it kind of produces a nice like holograph effect on top, which is quite nice. So duplicating helps with that. If I wanted to change that, I'm just going to go back to here. If I wanted to change that, for example, and just keep it as normal, if I was to duplicate the layer first, press OK, and then on my duplicate layer, if I then change the blend to difference, you will see it looks black. And that's purely because immediately underneath it, I've got my second B, my original B, and it's an identical image. So it's quite a good way of finding an outline of a shape to create that effect if you want it. But I can see the blend layer has been applied, because if I try and move my duplicate layer, look, I can see the B still, because I can now see the difference in the pixels. Quite a cool effect. It depends what kind of thing you're trying to achieve. And that's what you always have to bear in mind when you're choosing blending layers. Don't just do it for the sake of it. It's got to add something to the digital graphic. So the last type of blending mode we've got down here is the one which is used most frequently. These are the components, and this is about using colour basically to create blends. And this is used a lot in adjustment layers, and that's in another video. So whilst you can see what this does here in terms of changing the saturation and the hue of the colour and the luminosity, it's applied a lot to adjustment layers, which we're going to look at in another video. So that's how you use the blending tools. But just remember, whatever you're doing, make sure it's suitable for the digital graphic and don't just do it for the sake of it.